Are we ready? Is the camera rolling?
You hear.
I know, Zach's helping me with that. I would like to call this meeting of the Palmyra-Eagle Area School District to order at 7:15. Can we have a roll call?
Michael Eddy. Here. Tara Leroy. Here. Doris Parsons.
Here.
Jean Reith. Here. Mitzi Rashevsky. Here. Zachary Rakowski.
Here.
Christiana Williams. Here.
We have a quorum, so we will continue. I'll read the district mission statement. To ensure that students excel with intellect and virtue, inspired by innovative educators who engage and challenge each individual. Would you all join me for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda. A second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda's approved. Public comment. We didn't receive anything online, did we, Tracy? Any email? Okay, but we do have three public comments that have filled out paperwork to talk here. I'm assuming it's you three.
Yes.
Do you want James?
Yes.
Do you want to come up to the podium?
Okay.
Just to explain it a little bit, it's a 3-minute public comment, and it's not, the board won't engage back and forth with you. It's a listening session for what you want to say, but it's not so just so you know that, because sometimes people do come and they want, Mitzi to tell them yes or no.
Questions. We're not going to answer any.
Right, so we're listening and we'll hear you and appreciate you coming, very much so. Okay, thank you.
Do I need to state my name or anything?
Is he got a mic? Is the
James
mic on?
Anderson,
Yep.
Is the mic on?
is that? Brack drama. We very much appreciate the band program. I think it's fantastic that your son's in choir. So, yeah, I know I said we weren't going to say anything, and But I'm going to say something because that was heartfelt on your part. And I don't like when people say the school board voted to not do that. We did not vote to not do that. And
And thank you for explaining.
yes, and so please know that is, all the extracurriculars in this district are extremely important to all of us. We've all had kids here. We've all had kids do different things. Some are athletes, some are drama, some are choir, some are forensics. And we're not getting rid of stuff that's important to kids.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to voice
Thank
what I
you.
heard and everything, so thank you, I appreciate your time.
No, thank you for coming
Thank you for
and
coming.
saying that.
Clarify.
Totally appreciate that.
I've been working with Carrie on some options. I think, Doris, you've probably seen some of those in crossing emails, but I think we're pretty confident we will.
Yeah, I mean, I have high school choir days set.
Yeah.
You know, there are a couple different options I'm going to explore to do it, but we set high school choir day a few weeks ago. So there will be some form of high school choir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Did you
Now,
wanna talk? Yeah, she wants.
yeah. Kaylee? And then Alex. Thank you for, you're a great addition to our school district. Just someone who cares about what you're doing, and that's what we're looking to support, so thank you.
I did print out some stuff to show some of the benefits of what fire does for kids. And you guys would like,
Yes.
Yeah,
We're happy to have.
we'll take them.
and we did get 2 emails.
We did get 2 separate emails,
Just
but,
hand it, we'll get it to everybody.
but they didn't come in to the public comments email. They were emailed to the board members individually.
Okay, because Zach was saying he didn't get an email.
Well, and I think one of mine was in the spam filter. So Zach, check your spam
Yeah.
filter, because one of them was in there.
Mitzi just sent me the email, but if they didn't send it to the public comments, I wouldn't read it out loud personally.
Are there any other public comments? All right, thank you again. Board monitoring, ESSER fund report. I think there were board members that just were wondering where we're at, what we've used, what we still have, just any updates.
Well, I believe we received the rest of the ESSER 1 funds, which were to be spent by this June for $26,000. And we are going to look at, how we might use the ESSER 2 funds, yet we can still claim some of that this year. The amount is, we're still working on that. But keep in mind that the legislature intended districts to use those ESSER funds for their operations. I mean, they gave a 0% increase to per pupil expenditures in a year that saw 4.7% CPI, and now we're going to be looking at around 8.7% CPI increase with 0% new funding. So some of that will be used for typical operations. I mean, we could technically, we don't have to use it. We could, use some of the fund balance perhaps to get by a year, but why do that when we'll have $316,000 in ESSER 2 funds still available, and in excess of $800,000 in ESSER 3 funds. A lot of the things we're doing with that are primary enhancements. We're looking at using it for the AVID program. We could use some of that for developing the diesel program, which I'll talk about later. Even things like the choir program, if we need to change or add some staffing for that. But it's available for us, and I think, again, I don't think we're not in dire budget straits, but we have this funding available, and if we don't use it, we're not going to get any gold stars or anything. It's going to go back to the DPI and be sent to some other school districts. So, I don't know, Brad, you want anything?
No, exactly what he said. I mean, so we're trying to budget, and we'll see what we want to utilize it for. Obviously, everything that we're trying to do is mainly for operations and salary retention, but we received that $26,000 ESSER 1, and that's as of actually yesterday. So
If you read the ESSER law, a big piece of that is teacher and staff retention.
Yep.
So in this particular state where we've gotten 0 new budget dollars and and then districts with declining enrollments, I guarantee you literally every district in the state is using the monies in a similar fashion. I don't know anyone who's in a position where they could just, if they are getting ESSER funds, where they don't need it.
Just to reiterate, ESSER funds are not what dragged us out of the depths of dissolution.
We've
I mean, 'cause we still
we've
hear
used
that.
88,000 of it for new air handling equipment,
Yeah.
and which, could we have gotten by with the old? Yes, but that was specifically for those kind of things. And we have not touched the ESSER 2 funds yet, and we're 2 years into this. So yeah, no, has nothing to do with where we're at financially. I think over the past 2 years, some of the changes and moves that have been made, and situations like the change in the The busing contract will save us somewhere in the range of $120,000 to $140,000 a year. Those kind of things that the district has been doing, common sense, just watching the funds has made the big difference.
Any other board questions?
So ballpark total ESSER funds that we've actually used to date, the bulk of that was for the bipolar ionization units?
Right.
Okay, and so that was the 88,000?
88, and then there was another 26, which we used for,
26,000 that was unclaimed right now, that's what
so
we're.
we
Okay.
got to claim
Yep.
that
Okay,
on, smaller projects. but-
okay, all right, that's awesome.
Is that what they allot to us, the 26, or how does that number get?
No, what you have to do is, you submit an overall budget to the DPI. You can, you don't have to follow it, but you have to give them an idea where you're gonna spend it, and then you have to spend the funds first, spend the money first, and then you get reimbursed. So we don't get any, I mean, there's another issue is we don't get any funding, for operations until we have incurred the expenses.
And like the admin, which you said to bring kids up in speed, increase education, that was
Right.
salaries, which
Right.
we've increased our
Yeah.
salaries, we've increased
Yeah.
instruction.
Yep. And there has been a new change now. It looks like they are allowing districts to use the ESSER 3 for capital projects. Before, it was only a project related directly to health and safety of students, distancing students, putting in air handling systems, those types of things. Now it looks like they've opened that up to use you can use those funds for capital projects.
So we're continuing to look into how to use it.
And hopefully when the consultant we have comes in and takes a look, maybe that, some of that will go
Good,
towards
okay.
that. So, and I think we got a break too with the, we have a pretty nice fund balance in Fund 80, and now the auditors have said, yeah, go ahead, that's a permissible expense for community weight room. The key is community weight room. It has to be a community project, so.
All right, thank you. Moving on to committee reports. PR met on May 18th. Tara?
Thank you. We did meet on May 18th. Caitlin submitted, she was not present at that meeting, so she submitted her updates to us in writing. Katie, Principal Robertson, was there. She did report back, so the Village of Palmyra started planning to celebrate their 150-year celebration coming up in 2024, and the school district has been invited to have a seat at the table in regards to planning and being a part of that celebration. So it was nice that Katie Robertson was there to represent the district and kind of report back on things on that. So that'll be something over the next year or so to be a part of and to be involved with, because obviously the district and the school is a very big part of Palmyra's history, so it'll be fun to be a part of that. She presented first draft of the summer newsletter that will be going out. A lot of really cool stuff in the summer newsletter, so I'm excited to see the final when that gets done, which should be hopefully soon. We also talked about the greenhouse and helping to promote that. I know there was some initial drafts of the greenhouse promo brochures. And we also talked about promoting the Play It Again drive for the used band instruments for the band program. We made some updates to a flyer to make it so it can be distributed to the community and get more people aware of that program. And then we also talked about, after the great tour that we had of the tech ed department last month and realizing all of the exciting things that the teacher has going on in there, we talked about highlighting some of those awesome programs that she's put together and highlighting the many opportunities that have become available to the students and putting together some sort of series highlighting some of the many cool things. I know the last week of school, the tech ed kids got to launch their boat that they built, and it was so cool to see them take it out on the lakes here in town in a boat that they built themselves. So there's a lot of cool stuff like that going on.
And it
So-
floated.
And it floated. It's awesome. I love that boat. The SS Panther was launched, and that was a really cool thing. The kids should be really proud of that. So there's all kinds of stuff like that going on, and she has planned for the future. So we want to make sure that we let people know, because that is something that you're not going to see in a lot of school districts. So and I think that was pretty much all we had going on there. So.
Great, thank you. HR committee met May 11th. Jean?
We discussed administrators' salaries. Dr. Gray reported that a 2.6% increase is being proposed based on comparables, with the bump on one administrator is behind in the comparables. We reviewed need for facilities usage specialists. The committee asked that the usage of all 3 buildings be looked at to help determine how to best utilize the space for the needs in the program ideas for the district. We reviewed the needs for a special assistant to market and find an occupant for PES. It was reported that this would come about after the facility usage assessment. Michelle gave us a benefits update. The new benefits year starts on July 1st. This year, we only saw a 2% increase in benefit costs, so that is actually a win. We discussed that we needed and need a robust music program, including drama and choir. The committee would like to see a drama program again at the school. They've tasked the district in trying to find an advisor that can help make that happen. We discussed co-curricular for winter coaches. A request was made to the committee to take a look at increasing the pay for winter sports coaches due to the longer length of winter sports season. We discussed possible paid position for after-school weight room. It was also requested that our weight room supervisor stipend be added to the co-curricular list for the summer and between sports seasons. We discussed regarding frontline central electronic employee records management system. Michelle Thomas reported that we would like to look at becoming paperless for the hiring and onboarding process. The cost of implementation of the frontline central electronic employee record systems is $4,000 with an annual fee of $7,500. The committee asked for to create a cost-benefit analysis to help make an informed decision. And that was it. Meeting is tomorrow.
Great, thanks, Jean. Curriculum policy met last Tuesday. Christiana?
We did. So we discussed summer scholars update or summer school update. Currently, they're looking at 138 enrolled. Wraparound Care had 41 enrolled. So those numbers are up from last year and looking very good. They start next week. We discussed some of the elementary and middle school science curriculum. They have worked out what programs they're going to pilot for next year to see if they fit the needs and the teachers like the way that they work. So K through 2 is piloting Amplify, 3 through 7 is HMH Science Dimensions, and 8th grade will be piloting McGraw-Hill Science. We did discuss the student academic standards for the 22-23 school year. Those have to be approved by at the July meeting. It was asked by Jody to list the math and ELA Wisconsin state standards along with, well, it basically follows suit of what already our science and our social studies list. So we're just going to add those. It'll come back to the committee next month and then be on the full board likely in July, or will be on July's full board. We had a colorful discussion of COVID quarantine practices. So it's kind of come to light that we are following very closely to what the CDC is recommending for in-home contacts and in outside school close contacts, where other surrounding districts are have shortened all those lengths to get their kids back in the classroom. The committee requested that something be kind of typed up, and so I sent that to Todd, and Todd's working with legal to just kind of run it past, up the flagpole and make sure everything's good. And that was it.
Thank you. Buildings and Grounds met tonight. Before this meeting, Michael was not able to attend that, but Zach ran it. Jean, either of you? Oh,
The mic.
the mic.
Well, with the greenhouse project, we received a $10,000 donation from the Palmyra Community Foundation. So, yeah, you missed that. You could have been in a photo, but I had to be in instead.
Yes, you missed the photo op.
The Eagle Elementary roofing update that was completed in May. The high school, middle school roof as well was completed in May. The shop put area was completed in May before the big track meet, and everybody's happy with the surface. The custodian staffing is good for the summer, but we probably need more full-time people next year. We got a treatment for the athletic fields for fertilizer in June, and also a treatment scheduled for August. The standby generator will be repaired in July. We are waiting for roofing recommendations for the summer. Circulation pumps will be replaced, at Eagle Elementary will be replaced June 21st. There is a recommendation to use Fund 80 to upgrade our weight room. They're working through that process. Palmyra Elementary readiness, that is currently a work in progress. It sounds like we are going to set up a tour or possibly have policy and curriculum meet there next month. Next year's capital expenditures plan is a work in progress, and we discussed the special education van, and we basically need more info on that.
Thank you. Finance also met this evening, Mitzi?
Yes, we did. We are recommending that all vouchers be approved in the consent agenda. We reviewed the budget variances and were provided with an update, which is looking cautiously optimistic. We have asked that advisor contract and club stipends be sent to HR for review and cleaning up, and it's been presented that Michelle Thomas is also working on some of that with Carrie Tim. So that's a work in progress, and we look forward to a report. Major news is our transportation update that we are recommending Dousman Transport be approved as our carrier of our students. We sincerely thank Lakeland Coach Lines for all that they have done for our school district and hauling, I think, all of our children to and from home to school and from. And so that's a major transition, but as I said, we are recommending that approval. Christiana reported on summer school. We did just learn that lunches will be provided with consideration on participation of ongoing status of that. There were no new changes from our April 29th Eagle Elementary incident. However, we are examining changes in insurance and our deductibles so that we don't have $25,000 to pay out of pocket if it occurs again. We did visit the 2021 audit findings of licensing, and the Finance Committee recommends that while we're very appreciative of Michelle Thomas's job and her thoroughness in making sure that everyone is licensed, that we have some alternative form or some checks and balances there so that we don't find ourselves in the position where we have some that aren't licensed appropriately. Brad has asked us to each give some ideas regarding budget forecasting for 22-23. So if you could take it upon yourselves to send him your ideas of needs, categorize some wants maybe, and give an idea of where district should go in the future. And we also did have a short discussion of the special education ban, and as was reported in Buildings and Grounds, we look forward to information. And we will meet next July 12th at 6:30.
All right, thanks, Mitzi. Administrator reports.
Is that on? Hello? Okay. Just a couple updates. Graduation was a big success. Thank you to Doris and Todd and everyone who was in attendance. 45 of them out of here, and I thought everyone did a really nice job. Stephanie Tutton was guest speaker, which was wonderful. She did a fantastic job. I put Fish on the mission of trying to top that for next year, so we'll see how she does. End of school year was great. End of year celebration and awards was nice. Hiring is in process. Just to update you, I did have a social studies candidate because it feels like that one was out there a long time ago. They accepted and then a couple weeks later backed out despite my efforts, was not able to change their mind. We had a strong pool for that one, so we weren't really sold on any of the other ones, so we went back, brought 8 more in. I'm currently in negotiation with a top candidate there, hope to have that wrapped up by the end of the week. I hope you all saw my email, but I didn't mean to cause confusion. So Matt Stockrider, whose bachelor's and master's are both in business, is going to be taking the vacated business position Laura Lee-J had left. And then Seth Winters is our candidate that we are bringing forward for the Spanish position. Very excited about that opportunity. Lives right in the community, newly moved here, has experience in districts like ours and kind of being the only person, which can be a little bit challenging if you're not used to that. Other than that, we hope to maybe not have to hire many more, and we'll keep doing our summer thing.
Great, thanks, Mary.
At Eagle, we finished the year with a color run, which was super fun. I think Christiana was there. I'm not sure if anyone else was. Kids had a great time doing it. It was a good way to end the year. Kids went off well. Summer school starts Monday, so we have that for the next few weeks. Hiring front, I don't think Katie has any at the elementary school, except for eventually a reading specialist.
Early childhood.
That's me. Yep, so I did find a wonderful early childhood candidate that I'm super excited about, who is a graduate from here, which is exciting. So still in the works of getting middle school, high school special ed teacher. We do have a candidate that we are interested in, we're in negotiations with, and still working on some aid positions.
Anyone else? The staff retention is very exciting. I mean, this is really nice.
Don't talk
And-
about it too loudly, you'll scare it away. Just
No,
let
we're
it
not
be
scaring
as
away.
it is.
And what you
As it is.
presented to who you are hiring
Yeah.
sound fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's great. Okay, can we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Any discussion?
Lots of.
I just think it's absolutely amazing that 2 of the 3 candidates are graduates of our school district, and I love that they want to come back and help, and it just brought a smile to my face. And I'm excited about the new Spanish teacher as well. Can't wait.
Any other discussion?
At how amazing all of our fundraisers
Yeah.
are, and all of that effort is, wow.
Yeah, people are just willing to go above and beyond. I know we are talking about fundraising at PR tomorrow night, just to make sure that we're not going to the same people over and over and over, because I think we just have to be a little bit careful for things that aren't, they're more requests for funding rather than selling something. So we're going to be talking about that, so just so people know we're not.
Yeah, and just
We're
to
gonna wear people
clarify, the larger greenhouse fundraiser, we have not done anything directly for that. Our next step is actually just to start with a database of businesses and all of that, so we have not solicited anyone for any funds for that yet. Did they get the copy of the donor letter to Tracy?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, so that, obviously, I can't make PR tomorrow night because I have to be at Healthy Community Network, but if there's feedback on that prior to it going live here, within the next couple months, I would appreciate that. The brick stuff we'll probably start with as soon as we have a vendor for that, but we haven't solicited anyone for any funds yet.
All right, great. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda passes. Action items. Action item A. Can we have motion to consider approving salary adjustments?
I motion to table these salary adjustments.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
I believe that was supposed to go through HR, and it has not been brought to HR, so.
Well, basically, the situation was with HR, what happened before, we're trying to get this done by June 30th. We're talking a pretty minimal amount, maybe total increases for this group would probably less than 20,000. So, they originally were on with the group that was presented in May, but they were pulled off since we just did the aids at that time. So I was trying to. The goal is to try to include this up before 6:30.
That money's already, was in the budget.
No.
Yeah, I mean, this was for 21, 22, but, it took a long time to redo the teachers, so we're kind of waiting on that before we went ahead with the other groups, and that's kind of where we're going with this.
While I appreciate the effort to get it complete before the end of the fiscal year, I think it's prudent that we examine, even if it's considered a nominal amount, I think it's still prudent that we examine each position and make sure that some of them have not already had their salaries
So
increased.
that's why I said who have not previously, so I mean.
It's a little gray for me, Dr. Knight.
All right.
Okay.
I think what we'll do is just maybe put names to it instead, and that maybe that will clarify.
I had asked for costing as well, so we could see a little bit.
Better.
Okay, so there is a motion to table this to HR tomorrow and a second. All those in favor say.
Wait,
Oh.
is it on the agenda for HR? Oh,
Yeah, it is on, and that was the other question that I believe Mitzi brought forward, is it's on tonight's agenda and on the HR agenda. Yeah,
So then you'll have a special get-together to try and get it done by the end of the fiscal year versus waiting until July? Is that-
If you want it to happen before the end of the year, if you guys make that recommendation to the board, then yes, you would have to have a special meeting to discuss and approve it. To be able to. So it could happen on the June 30th.
Which we may end up doing depending on what kind of ESSER II funds we might be using. Some of those might require a board approval before June 30th. So there's potential for another short meeting to approve some of
well, if
those.
we've already scheduled after following curriculum policy, a potential tour of PES, we will have already a scheduled meeting where we could handle some other
Yeah.
items.
I think it was just murky. I think because some of those areas, food service and custodial, some of them, not all of them, but some were already brought up to speed. Some of the administrative assistant staff were brought up to speed. Some people started, like
Well,
Tracy,
they were, true, they were.
already brought
right.
up to speed. So it was a little confusing,
Right.
I think, to board members.
But the issue is, so if you bring people up to speed and then they don't get an increase, but then the other people do get an increase because they haven't, gotten something, then you're always gonna be playing catch-up. So the bringing up the speed, just like with the teachers, is more just to correct some past discrepancies. I mean, the teaching staff, you had people that were not properly compensated for years and years.
I
And
think
so,
that was
yeah.
totally clear to the
Yeah,
board. The teaching
okay.
staff was clear, and I think the aides were clear. But I think some of the other ones, because we did raise, when we couldn't hire custodians or food service, and we said, okay, bring it up to $16 or $16.50 or whatever. And that's when we kind of then thought, okay, now we gotta work on the aides and everything else. So I think this was just a little murky. There are individual people that didn't get in on what
The
was
bringing
given, but
people
there are
up to
also
speed.
some
Right,
other
right.
people who didn't take the
Yeah.
5%
Yeah.
cut. So I think just to
Right.
clarify it for everyone. All those in favor of tabling it to HR, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Action item B, consider a motion to approve the 2022-2023 WIAA membership renewal.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2022-2023 WIAA membership renewal.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. C, consider a motion to approve Dousman Transport Company for a 5-year student transportation contract starting this fall.
I'll make a motion to consider approval of Dousman Transport Company, Inc. for a 5-year student transportation contract starting in the 22-23 school year.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? We talked a little bit about finance and, or buildings and grounds, whichever one, and we all talked about how we will miss and honor Lakeland's service to us, and we're welcoming you. So, thank you for your consideration, your contract. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Now you can leave. Just kidding.
Thanks for attending.
I
Yes,
just,
thank you very much for attending.
I just wanted to see if we could just, because this will be a change, obviously, for families that have had the same company, if we could just maybe recap some of the benefits of this change, because, I mean, we've all heard some of the things, but there's gonna be people maybe watching this board meeting or hearing it for the first time that might be a little nervous making a change. I mean, obviously, we're going to be saving some money, which is a driving factor, but if there's some things that you could talk about.
Well, ultimately, Blaine is
I
hanging
can,
up.
savings of up
It's not gonna be a business anymore.
40,000, assuming it's the same routes we have right now. Sometimes routes change depending on where kids live, but it's gonna be pretty close to that 120 to 140,000. And that's each year. I mean, that's not just a one-time savings. That goes with us each year. It's a large company. I'm not gonna say they don't have problems getting drivers, but they have drivers that they can probably pull from different parts of the area if they need to. They've done a very good job for many of the districts in southeastern Wisconsin, that at least the ones that I'm aware of. One of the other things too is they offered, they knew we were looking at a diesel program, and they said, well, we'll take some of your diesel co-op kids. So, at least until we get into the electric buses, so. And a year ago I thought, a year ago I thought it was crazy, and then I got information on a fairly large grant, that they want to encourage, bus companies to consider this, and with only 7 buses right now, you never know. It could be something that is a possibility, and I would think buses would probably be a good choice for that, because you're making a run and they can come back and plug in. It's not like a long haul diesel where you have to stop in wherever, Oklahoma, for 5 hours so to me, it's feasible. I have no idea what the price of electric bus, zero, but, the grant I saw was pretty, yeah, it was probably, I want to say, $300,000. So you never know. There could be that possibility out there, that we. So those are just some of the options, and I'm sure there's others. They have a team that does routing and all the other good things that can maybe relieve us of some of those duties. I know Carrie was doing some of the routing, and maybe she won't have to do as much now.
So just to add to Tara's concern with parents or whatever, your safety features and what you offer seem totally, you got everything covered. With the child being left in the bus, alarm system, and the gates coming down, and everything that you offer and do. So I think that's what people want to hear. We've got kids on a bus for a while, so knowing that that's first and foremost with your company is important to us. Yeah. Sure. You got 3 minutes. My pizzas are going to be ready in 7.
Thanks, and for the folks listening, so I'm Larry Kirkley, I'm with Dousman Transport, and, you know, I understand Lakeland has been transporting your students for decades upon decades, and I don't take that lightly. You've built a lot of trust with your current school bus provider. I've got 2 children of my own. I've watched Dousman Transport and the relationship that those drivers have with the schools, that they have with the families. They know the kid's first name. We had just a quick little story real quick. We have a driver who's been with us for about 38 years, and there was a young man that was on, his name is Tim, the driver. He was a student on Tim's bus. This young man is now in his 20s, and he had reached out and said, hey, is Tim still with your company? Because he really inspired me when he was a bus driver, and I'm looking at doing this now for I don't know if it was a second job or whatever, but I guess I'm trying to illustrate the point where there's a lot of trust that's put into these drivers who you see on a day in and day out basis for years and years and years. And I want everyone to know, just straight from me, I don't take this responsibility and this privilege to transport your students lightly. Again, I've got two school-age children, a 7-year-old girl and a 14-year-old son. And to put them on a bus, to essentially hand them over to a person maybe I've never met before is a tremendous leap of faith. And we don't take that lightly, but I promise you, your students will be safe with us. You can put all your trust into us. We will get your students to and from school, extracurriculars, etc., absolutely safe. We've got a remarkable safety reputation. We've been in business for over 60 years. We transport a lot of the districts around the Palmyra-Eagle area school district, and we're very, very excited to take on the privilege of transporting our students now as well. To the point of the safety features, yes, we do have all the safety features, many safety features on our bus. The child lock that Doris had, the child alarm that Doris had talked about a little while ago. Plus our buses, they operate with GPS on them as well, and there's a lot of features that we can talk about, perhaps on a different day, that these GPS, kind of enables with respect to different features. A program called Z-Pass, where students are given a badge and they can, swipe in and out of the bus, so you know at all times where your student is, where your student gets on the bus, when he or she gets off the bus, where he or she gets off the bus. We have another program that a lot of our districts, some of our districts right now are looking into. One district is using it right now. It's called MyView, and it's an app that you can, download on your phone. And basically, it's a GPS fence, and you set the parameters of that fence, and it lets you know when your child's school bus is coming into that GPS fence. So if you set that thing for 1 mile from your home, you know that bus is, 1 mile from your home, that it's time to get your son or daughter out to the bus stop. Again, stuff like that, just, it mitigates maybe some of the uncertainties, that, potentially, they keep our children safe. We don't have to keep our children at bus stops for 5-10 minutes. We know that bus is a minute out, boom, we push our son or daughter out of the house to the bus stop, 30 seconds out, and the bus is essentially there waiting for them. So yes, there are many safety features that we have. And again, it's to keep your son and daughter safe. And to the board, and to Todd and to Brad and to Carrie, thank you very much to everybody for just taking this leap of faith, if you will, and entrusting us with your students. It means a tremendous amount to us. So thank you again.
Thanks, Larry.
In my prior district, people would call and yell and say, oh, the bus was 20 minutes late. But we could go on and we could see, no, it was at your stop, maybe 2 or 3 minutes late. So we were able to, they would say, they'd be upset because they thought the bus was late, and we could say, no, it's 2 or 3 or maybe 5 minutes late, but it was, we never found that it was actually as late as people thought it was. So that's kind of one of the advantages of those systems too.
You going? Oh, you gotta list them all.
I'll make a motion to consider approving the following organizations as recognized district support organizations for the 2022-2023 school year per board policy 9211. We have the Eagle Elementary PTO, the Panther Baseball Boosters, the Panther Band Booster Association, the Panther Boys Hoops Club, the Palmyra-Eagle Athletic Boosters, and the Palmyra-Eagle Quarterback Club.
I'll second.
Monday, no, I'm sorry, on Friday with WCTC, the folks that kind of run their diesel technician program, trying to look for some kind of option that we can do. We did look at elementary, the cost to turn that into a garage. Number one, first of all, the door isn't high enough to get a full semi in there. But some of the other changes we're probably looking at well in excess of $350,000. Then the equipment needed to run a full lab was another 300 and some. And so that's quite an investment to make when we don't know what, how many students are coming in. So what the plan is, what I believe we should do is look at trying to provide some introductory courses here, and WCTC can help us with that. They can provide, or we can get models of some kind, especially with the electronics. Now, the guys I spoke to were really pushing the diesel electronics as a really important part of it. So they thought there was some in-classroom programs they could do with some hands-on that we could do here without having to make any major facility changes. And so that would be the introductory course, and then we could get transcript credit through WCTC if we could get kids there to get into their program. Now, I said, look, we're looking at half hour there, half hour back, but they said they have situations where they can start the kids, that could be the start of their day, and they can start even a little earlier than the normal day here, so by the time they got back, maybe they would only miss one, wouldn't miss the period, but that would be their period, and not having to carve up 2 different class periods. So that's the approach we're taking. I think it's still viable, and then as it builds, we can look at facility changes and adding other components to that course. There's quite a bit to it. I mean, if you look at a full diesel technician course, it's a lot. I mean, there's a lot to it, and they have hydraulics in it, the electronics, and so there's many pieces to that. But I still think we can make this work on a step-by-step basis. So.
Yeah, I'm just going to report a little bit, just a couple of things from the business office standpoint. We're starting up our audit season coming up here shortly. So we'll be very, very busy down in the business office. Tracy has been back now full-time. She's been a huge addition down in the district office for us. Again, thanks for Dousman to join our team. We've actually had great conversations over the last, month and a half. We wish Blaine well, and they're always going to be part of this district for years going on. And then the positive note is that we did get that ESSER funds for ESSER 1, we just talked about earlier, so that's a plus, and we have submitted both ESSER 2 and ESSER 3 budget. So we'll kind of go from there as we move forward with the forecasting.
And speaking of dance, I know my daughter's one of the cheer and dance girls, and I can't tell you how excited that team is to have their own official room and space now in the building. So I wanted to give a shout out to our athletic director, who also, Kevin Wild, who worked with Bill Lean. But Kevin did an awesome job of recruiting high school boys. And we had basketball players that got in there and helped clear out all of the old desks and stuff and move it out of the building and make that space available to the dance girls. So I just love how our kids step in and help each other out. The high school kids have been fabulous helping the cheer and dance team anytime they've asked for it. So I just wanted to say thank you to them. That was awesome, and the girls are so excited. They're looking at mirrors on the walls. It's really going to help with their technique. They've got some exciting things planned for this season, and they're expecting to return back to state both at a middle school and high school level again, so that's pretty cool. We have to give a shout out to our track team, who sent 3 relay teams to state this year, after also taking their first regional championship title in 25 years. They sent 3 relay teams to state to compete. Our girls rocked it, broke a 40-year-old school record, and reached the podium and medaled at state, which surprised, I think, everyone. They just really stepped up and dug in that, and that was really cool to see them do that. And the track program has just exploded this year, tripling in size. What was really cool about all of our spring sports is we had a lot of kids do dual sporting and had great success in both the sports that they participated in. But what was also really cool is we had a ton of kids trying sports for the very first time this spring. And I think that is really cool. Even juniors and seniors stepping out and trying something that they've never done before, I think is really cool and a testament to the time that our coaches are putting in, the opportunities they're making available, and of course the support of the parents and the community for everything that they want to do. So I just want to shout out and thank you to everyone that made that possible. And lastly, Kettle Moraine Days is coming up, June 24th to the 26th. It's going to be Panther crazy down there. We've got the marching band in the parade. We've got the cheerleaders in the parade. We've got the dance team in the parade. We've got the cheer and dance team will be doing concessions, selling some of the best smoked pulled pork. And the football team will have concessions selling burgers there this year. So we're really excited that we're going to have like an awesome showing of Panthers down there and Eagles. So make sure you guys all come down and say hi and support the kids. So, oh.